Hi guys, welcome along to today's video. Putting these gloves on because the thing I want to show you today are mucky items, and these are old used ones. So without further ado, we'll crack on. And what it is if you're unfortunate enough to get a blocked drain and you find that you actually are going to need some drain rods, but you think, my neighbour's got a set of those, I'll borrow those, or my uncle Ronnie's got a set, I'll borrow his because I don't want to buy any, I only need to clear it and that's the job finished, isn't it? But that's probably the worst thing you can possibly do, is borrow someone's old drain rods that you have no history about whatsoever. So without further ado, let me show you what can go wrong. So you borrow the rods, take the manhole cover up, you start rodding down, and the kind of thing that can happen, the very worst thing in fact that can happen, is to have a rod come away in the drain. If you lose a rod in the drain, especially if it's got a load of others attached to it as well in front of it, then that is going to cost you a small fortune to have dug out and get those rods removed. Now the kind of thing I'm talking about here, I've got these rods here, these are old ones, I've never used them but I've kept them just to show you. Now as you can see, one threads to the other like so, goes in there and you do the thread up. Okay, I think that's fine, isn't it? But not only are these not very flexible because they've got old, which means something else can happen. I'll show you exactly what can happen, and that's this. This rod has snapped off, and I was very lucky to get this out because it hadn't gone far up the drain. I managed to retrieve it, and that made me think, never use these old rods again, make sure I renew them before I get any more. So that is the main problem that can happen. Now these fittings can get worn, they've got rivets holding them in, and they wear away, they rust through, and the end can fall off again. So very dangerous to do that, or second-hand rods. Also, on this one, as you can see, it's screwed. So it's a right-hand screw. If you're screwing through the drain, like so, right clockwise, using the screw attachment, and then you get through, but find to get it out again, it won't move that way. Still, you can't pull it this way, so you decide to do it anti-clockwise. Well, that is a big mistake as well, because what can happen, it might start to move, you think, it's turning, but in actual fact that rod is stuck and you're unscrewing the drain rod, and once that becomes unscrewed, the rods are stuck up the drain once again. You have major problems. So my advice again is to get drain rods that are lockable. Now you can get plenty of them, make sure they are lockable thread. Silverline do one that uses a dual thread operation thing to make sure that you can turn the rods any way you like, and they won't unscrew inside the drain. Very, very important. And the flexibility is a must. Make sure they can bend. I mean, these are so old, I can't get any bend out of them at all. Rather than that, they should be able to whip right round like so. So this is just probably a bit of a scaremonger one really, but I don't like to frighten you. But just don't borrow old drain rods, okay? It's a real no-no. In fact, unless you've got really good high quality rods that you know are safe, you know, a couple of uses and chuck them away and get a new set, in case they get very brittle and hard, and then they're not of any use, and you certainly won't like it if they break off in the drain. So unless you bought a very, very expensive set, you know, do keep an eye on these fittings and ends. Make sure that all the attachments and the rivets are all solid, and definitely make sure you get the type of rods that can't unscrew in the drain, that have the lock on the connecting, so you can turn them back the other way if you want, and they won't unscrew. Alright, that's it. Just a little information one really. A guy asked me, he'd got his rod stuck up the drain and how he would get it out, and I said it's going to cost you a lot of money, and that kind of made me think, actually perhaps you guys ought to know about this one, because this is something I wouldn't want to happen to you. Alright then, so it's just an information video. All my stuff, you know where to go, usual place, Derrickton 33. Thanks for watching guys, bye bye.